straight, just give me a beat, mate.
And we are live and direct, mother lovers. Yep. You're damn right. Back again, right here, midweek, Wednesday night. You know the place to be right now, mother lovers. It's right here on some shit you might not never know nothing about with myself, Mice Diggy, my co-host, Dan DNA. What's going on, bruv?
Good, man. You?
Good, yeah, all good, yeah. Getting
good
ready for that.
half a week so far.
Woo, good
Freezing.
half a week. Yeah, it's been good, man. It's been good. It's kind of flown by, to be honest.
Temperatures dropped.
Temperatures dropped like a mother lover. You know what I mean? Like now, the long johns, you got to get the long johns out. Yeah. You can't mess around.
Shorts with long shorts. Johns underneath.
Still got the short. He's like, yeah, you're not making me take my shorts off. Hey, you know what I mean?
Nah.
I'll withstand the cold with
Got to
me
get
long
to
johns.
Christmas with the shorts.
Is that the mission?
Yeah, but I'm cheating a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. a long john a bit, boy. No, man, you can't mess around in this weather, boy. It will switch on you. This morning was bright, sun was shining. Felt like a beautiful, November. It's kind of surprising, to be honest, but yeah, as soon as you step out, you're like, oh, okay. Your toes are like, okay. Yeah, you got to calm down. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it wasn't too bad. Weekend was okay. I got a bit of work done, writing and whatnot. And got to, there was a gathering for our brother, Dr. Psycho. Rest in peace, Dr. Psycho. He passed away 4 years ago. And so it's like a little memorial. So big shout out to Furtz because he put it together. He let us know that, have a little gathering. We went by the site. Shout out to my cousin. He came through. A few other people as well. And yeah, man. So that was good. And then, it's just fun, like, in terms of when you ain't seen people for a while as well. You get a good catch up and you get to chit chat. Same thing we were talking about. Because we've been so apart. And it's good to see more and more people like on the same wavelength. They're like,
Numbers are rising.
Numbers are rising. Yeah. You know what I mean? In a positive way.
Yeah.
So it feels good to be part of that positive light. You know what I mean? People that just see it just go, oh, wow, I didn't realize, man. Shout out to the common senses. They all realize you lot are smart as a mother lover. I really appreciate you lot. When we get into certain conversations and certain topics and that, it's really good to see how people come back with their bits of knowledge as well. And so we all learn from each other, do you know what I mean? So shout out to Kenny Rebel. I see you. Shout out to your ma. Yeah, I think I said it right this time. Yeah, she kind of gunned me down and said, you know what I mean? You ain't putting in the work on my name. You ain't respecting my name. So shout to your ma. Yeah. Shout to PLK. What's going on, brother? Good to see you in the building, mother lover. Shout to Mr. Green. What's going on? You know what I mean? Shout to Don Smitherd. Yeah, we see you, mother lovers. Yeah, we'll get them all rolling in. We thought we would get ourselves going straight away. Do you know what I mean? Just get in there. Give them a couple tunes. Just jump straight in there, mate. You know what I mean? That's how we do it. Nah, she's like, nah, I didn't.
That ain't right.
I still messed it up, boy.
That's got her mum's blood on that name. You've got to get it right.
Your ma.
Yeah.
You say it because you don't.
Your ma.
So Dan says it all right, yeah?
Your ma.
That's kind of messed up, man. That D says it. Yeah, I ain't.
Because of the red hair, red facial hair, and
the red tints,
the Scottish roots.
Did you ever have like full on red hair, or was it always like just
when I was a baby? We just had a big shock of red hair. No, I was blonde when I was a kid. I was blonde up to about 12 or something, and it just slowly went.
And puberty came in.
Went red, like a auburn colour.
The fiery dragon.
And then that's when you sort of get people, they're like, oh, ginger.
Oh, for real.
Yeah. But it's one of many names. That's all it was. It was one of many things that you could take the piss out of me for.
Yeah.
Big ears, the name, Dan Dirty Old Man or something like that. You could make a little rhyme out of it.
Dandruff is definitely the best one.
Ginger, ginger nut, ginger nuts.
Was it Seedless Jaffa? Did you get that? Or
No, nah. And yeah, I weren't like red. You know, it's not red. It's just like I was freckly as well, so
I've seen
quite a lot of freckles.
Yeah,
that as well. More endearing though, freckles, isn't it? People call you freckles. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, freckles ain't too bad. Freckles
then I had really bad acne, so then I got called Spotty and all these other
Yeah. Oh, did you get
that?
Yeah.
My life has been just like one of having to just learn to deal with it.
In some form of way, just deal with it. Yo, shout out to Bruce Willis, aka Bluefoot, in that house. He said he was blonde till about 8. Wow. Yeah, I can't imagine that, man.
No.
Yeah, it is funny. Shout out to Gleam in the building. Yeah. Because do you actually notice it changing, or is it just, you know?
No, not really. It's maybe just over a summer or something. You just notice over one summer it just doesn't go as blonde as it did because it's sort of like you go when you've got blonde hair, it goes like a bit darker in the winter. You know, like a bit more browny, and then it's only in the summer it gets really like pale in the summer, and then as you get a bit older, it just starts getting dark.
That's something to do with the sun, then, isn't it? It must be some kind of. Is it?
Nah, it's to do with like what they call pedomorphic retention. So it's it's quite a big subject.
Yeah, he's gonna get deep on it now, man. So we gotta go in. Should we go in on the? You don't want to go in. Was it pedo?
Yeah, it's called neoteny is the other name.
Pedomorphic
retention. So the retention of juvenile traits into adulthood. So blonde is like babies are born blonde because it's pale and against the pale skin, it keeps everything one color. So like baby mice are born pink with like no fur on them. So mammals generally are born very, very pink. Even you get black babies, as soon as they come out, they're pink, and then the color comes into them within like a day or a couple of days, whatever. So all mammals have like a pink birth, but with some, white people that carries on up till, well, look at Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's a massive baby. He's a massive baby. He's blonde. And he gets away with everything because he looks like a massive baby.
Baby, for real, he looks like he wears a nappy too, boy.
Yeah. So we let people who have got that, so that trait of carrying those juvenile traits into adulthood is sort of small percentage of people have it, but it allows them to sort of get away with more and be more angelic. So people treat them as more angelic because they still have loads of these juvenile traits into adulthood.
Yeah. Christopher Biggins.
Yeah.
He's another one.
Normally like blue eyes, blonde hair.
Look like they should wear a nappy.
I think that's the root of the blue-eyed devil thing. Is that these people with blue eyes do get away with a lot, and it's because blue eyes is a very babyish, juvenile mammal thing. Puppies have blue eyes when they're babies. Kittens have blue eyes when they're babies. Or cows or horses. All baby mammals have blue eyes, but with white people, they've retained it into adulthood.
Yeah.
And people, like Malcolm X, categorized it as blue-eyed devils because they get away with a lot.
Yeah.
Because of the blue eyes.
Wow.
But we let people with blue eyes get away with a lot because we all love blue eyes.
It's a vicious cycle. It's a blue-eyed cycle.
That's why some people put blue eyes in.
Yeah, Biggins, man. Biggins, he's one of them
You're
as well,
obsessed with
man.
Biggins.
Blue just mentioned it as
Something
well.
happened with Christopher Biggins.
Right. Oh, second podcast in a row. It's true. Because I feel like there's a certain trait with them sort of people. You're like, right, Boris Johnson and Christopher Biggins, they're pretty similar, man. It wouldn't be surprising if you didn't see them in the same place at the same time.
just the glasses. That's like Boris Johnson just puts
And
the
just the
glasses
way
on
they
and
go
becomes
on.
Christopher
It's like
Biggins.
Stewie from Family Guy, man.
Yeah.
They're all linked.
Yeah.
There's some, you know what I mean? Something's going on over there. Yo. Frequency-less. Yeah, Gleam is going to get deep on us again. Listen, we got a special guest this week.
Yeah.
Very special guest. I don't know about Mr. Tumble. Who's Mr. Tumble?
Don't know. Is he from Lion and Witch in the Wardrobe?
Probably.
Not sure.
We'll find out later on.
It's probably might be a kid's
investigate program. That. Yeah, man. We got a special guest coming up right about now. He represents the People's Army. This is a hard-working mother lover, man. One of the people that, when I was obviously going through this whole whirlwind last year, wondering what the fuck is happening, he was one of the people that I kept seeing popping up in the comments and that, with certain people I was following. And we had a few conversations, back and forth about how we felt about this. And so it's good to be able to chat to him now and just catch up, man, see what he's been up to, how he's been navigating through all of this. You know what I mean? So mother lovers out there, all my common sensors, please give him a warm welcome. Give him some fire. Oh, is he not on there?
Oh, hang on.
Give him some fire emojis, a warm welcome, you know what I mean? In this cold, DJ Snuff of the People's Army, bitches and bitchettes. Where's he at? Yes. What's that? You got a Guinness right there.
Hold on.
Oh, for real?
I don't think we've got sound from,
there's no.
from Snuff yet.
What's that? Cherry juice. From where? How many cherries you got to pop to get that? Is it? A mixologist. Right. Yeah. I was wondering, because a mixologist, wouldn't a DJ be classed as a mixologist as well?
DJ Go and all that lot. Remember back in the day with
Yeah. Their name is the mixologist anyway.
Yeah, mixologist. I never do.
Yes, bruv. How you been, man?
I've been pretty well, man. You know what I mean? Considering.
Good to see you. Yeah. I know, man.
Certain things to navigate, but I've been taking my time to find the best way to navigate it, and I think I've coming up with some good formulas to do so.
I know what you're saying, man, because you're a guy that very much known for traveling around the world a lot.
Up until the start of 2020, right?
Yeah, how was you? What was the impact like? Take us back to back then, what it felt like for you, what you were going through.
What when lockdown was announced and shit like that.
Because none of us were seeing each other, you know what I mean? So we don't know who's thinking what, where, when, and so it's kind of like it's quite hard for people to even, get a sense of how balanced they need to be or what they should be aware of when there's all this mass confusion out there. But I saw you were on it already from early.
Mate, I've been on it since since Belfast, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I grew up in the Troubles, and I'm quite aware of how the government's not a real government. It's all a massive controlled up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think before we got locked down, I knew we were going to be locked down because at the end of 2019, I saw the scaremongering start, and I knew it was coming our way. And I could see the press building it up in so many different ways, from just the murmuring fear mongering, and then the sort of like pop sensationalizing of it. Do you remember when Cardi B was doing the whole coronavirus is coming?
Yeah. I remember
that was before we all got shut down. But that's the time when I think I was mentioning it on the Facebook, and I reckon we're in for a bit of a shit show here.
Yeah.
So, and people were like, nah, whatever. This is like, here comes the lockdown. People are saying it's going to be, what was it, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right?
Yeah.
And I remember at the time I was saying, like, there ain't no coming out of this. This is step one of many, many, many steps. And I think you remember because I don't use the Facebook no more, but some of the last 2 or 3 posts that I put up was basically about what is happening now and what I can see coming. And I also put a lot of advice on how to protect your health and energy. And I remember getting a lot of mixed replies.
Well,
you were one of the ones I remember being like, yeah, safe for the information. But then there's also a lot of people like saying like, oh, here we go, tinfoil hat territory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because of what I've learned, I applied it to myself immediately and came off the Facebook because I knew at that time it wasn't a good time to put yourself in the line of fire that's going to cause any type of anxiety or stress, you know?
Yeah, jeez. You know what's funny? I did the same thing. Like, I've still got it, but I just didn't use it. And I was like, wow, when I went back on it, I was like, damn, I haven't been on it for about over a year. I might have just posted, like, linking through to it, but not really use. And it was because of that reason, because I know, but I can't remember. I think it must have been your post that I seen, and it was talking about how germs work and all that, and or something like that. And but I didn't, you know, it was after then I didn't really go on there again. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, carry on.
I didn't like the energy. I didn't like the energy that I was receiving, and not even just over that. I just knew that it was about to get really, really tense on there with the general polemic discordance and arguments, because it's an emotional. People are so emotionally triggered, and that's how they kind of like been managing to implement what's going on, through triggering people's fears and so on. And they've been doing it very well. But one of the things that I knew about Facebook in particular is that they patent their own frequency of blue light, and they also have their own patent on a flicker and a pulse. And it's weaponized and designed to keep you entrained, like your eyes basically glued to the set.
Serious?
Yeah, man. And through the triggering of the flickering light, it can also they can weaponize bacteria to move in a particular pattern or have a particular behavior depending on the light frequencies and the flicker rate. So when I was looking at how Facebook was moving, I thought, I don't want to be staring at this screen. I'm going to come away from the screens. I'm going to come away from like trying to argue with anybody, because at that time I was thinking, for all I know, there's some sort of germ warfare going on, and all I want to do is study and take some time out to really get the grips with what's going on in order to protect myself, and also hopefully be able to share more information with other people when I learn it. I think I'm a lot more informed now, but at the time, because so much stuff was up in the air, and you're looking at all different sort of potential possibilities of what is going on. Yeah, I really wanted to take that time to ensure that I was, well prepared and defended, like build my body fortress up, and also try to connect with people that are a little bit more not clued up about what's going on, because it's not so much the idea that you know exactly who all the players are, what exactly is going on, but the one thing that I knew for certain from the jump was that what I'm just going to call Babylon. I know how they move worldwide. I know the United Nations is a mafia. They're a bunch of crooks. I know the World Health Organization are a bunch of crooks. I know the CDC are a bunch of crooks. I know the International Monetary Fund are a bunch of crooks. I've been learning about the World Economic Forum, and now I know a lot about those lot, the Klaus Schwab and that whole family. A bunch of crooks. And I know the history of like the Wellcome Trust. Like, for example, in Ireland, Wellcome Trust was GlaxoSmithKline, and they used to experiment on orphans, for nearly a century, best part of a century. They probably had another name up until about a century ago, but from the outset of when they were around, I actually worked with the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church were doing, what you could basically call social engineering. in regards to, like, say when a single mother is having a child out of wedlock, the mother would be shamed and the child would be shunned, like as a bastard, you know? So people don't want to know about the mother or the child. So the mothers are going to these like homes and the children are going to orphanages. And then GlaxoSmithKline were in charge of, well, they had free reign and access of these kids and the mothers, and they were doing a lot of experiments on these kids for a long time, working alongside the church and alongside the Health Czar of Ireland. You know, so that's just like local that I was aware of. So I know. I'm also been interested in naturopathic medicine and herbs and nutrition for a very long time. You know, I was following Sebi and the likes from long before Sebi passed.
Yeah.
I was already kind of like thinking about the modality of herbs being more synergistic to the body than pharmaceuticals, and pharmaceuticals being, you know, a leading cause of death, in fact, in the world. You know, they call it iatrogenic death, which they say is the third leading cause of death in the United States and a main leader across the world. And I think it would be like the leading cause of death if people were really honest about how these things are also contributing towards the cardiovascular diseases and the metabolic disorders and you know, cancer and so on. Because it's only cancer and heart attacks that are above iatrogenic death, and they can both be exacerbated through medical malpractice and pharmaceuticals, you know. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, I've no trust or faith for the pharmaceutical world. And what really was a massive red flag that was just making me like thinking, oh, you're taking the piss. Like, you know, as soon as I saw Fauci, you know, I think a lot of people now are still just starting to get to grips with the idea that Fauci might be a bit of a crook.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
I'm old enough to remember the whole HIV/AIDS thing, you know. And I remember the whole time with Fauci, he's the one who was pushing the AZT. You know, this isn't something I've been learning retrospectively now, because I was through all that entire shit show. You know, they used to the fear theater, terrorism that we used to do about AIDS. Don't touch anybody. Don't do this. Don't do that. They were saying you can get it off sitting on a toilet
seat. Yeah, I remember that in school, man. They'll tell you, oh yeah, if you sit on the toilet seat, you can catch AIDS. You're like, right, you don't want to sit on the toilet seat. Yeah, you put tissue.
And what happened to AIDS? Like, we don't talk about AIDS no more. Like, it's like it's gone or something. You know? But this is like the new thing.
Yeah.
And the more you learn about how even they diagnose and tell you what AIDS is, they kind of like recategorize a lot of already happening diseases and disorders and recategorize them as AIDS. You know, or they put them underneath the AIDS banner, you know, because it's like acquired immunity disorder, right?
Immune deficiency
syndrome.
Immune deficiency syndrome. Acquired immune deficiency syndrome, yeah.
That's right, yeah. Which is like a kind of a wasting disease, you know. But I remember at the time when all that first popped off, they were talking about it being in the gay community and all that, and then the gay community was outraged that they were being targeted, and then they moved it over to like the junkies, and then they started saying it was black people and it came out of Africa and it came from monkeys and all, kept changing up their story, you know.
Yeah.
But what I did understand though is that the animal nitrates that in the poppers and so on, that was really popular in the dance scene in the States back then. Those animal nitrates are really damaging to tissue. So a lot of people were getting sick, you know, and then they just started to cluster all those things together and say, like, this is this new thing, and here's the solution we got. Everyone needs to be terrified of this. And what they did with the AZT is very reminiscent of what they're doing right now with the injections, because they were basically forcing it on people. You know, I remember like there's a couple of documentaries you can watch. I think it's the House of Numbers and another one, and then there's some really good presentations from Dr. Stefan Lanka.
Oh yeah.
Definitely worth checking out. Yeah, Stefan Lanka is definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
But they were talking about oh boy.
Lanka is.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just trying to remember what it was. The point I was going to make. It was basically. I remember one scene that was just made me think, oh shit, that's actually really terrible. But they were taking like children away from their mothers when the mother wasn't wanting them to take the AZT drugs because they were saying the AZT drugs were making them feel bad, you know. But because the mothers were saying like, we're not happy with this, we're gonna take our chances, you know, in a naturopathic way, they took the children off the mother, and I thought like that's some totalitarian crazy shit, you know what I mean? And taking children away from their parents who have the best interest for the children. And obviously this is also after the fact when we've already realized that the AZT is actually what was causing what they were calling AIDS. Yeah. You know, because people are being diagnosed with HIV with the same PCR test that they're using for coronavirus under the same dubious circumstances of the super high cycle amplification threshold, which was just giving people false positives, you know, that's exactly the same device.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
People with that.
It's crazy because
diagnosing people with that and then giving people the AZT and then the AZT leading people into disease. You know, I later found out that, for example, your man Freddie Mercury never died of AIDS; he died of the AZT. Your man Magic Johnson, he probably would have died, but he stopped using the AZT. You know. And then here we are today. Anyway, I was just saying, like at the very beginning, I was like, I'm looking at Fauci, I'm looking at these people, I'm looking at all these players. In my head, I'm thinking, I don't know what they're spraying us with something. They could be putting something in the food. There could be something in the air. I have no idea, but I know that these people are crooks and they're out. They're running game on us. You know.
So that's what
kind of
one of the comments was Mr. Green. He's saying, so HIV is not real. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, well, HIV is not a proven causation of AIDS, and AIDS is a quite vaguely categorized as a disease in itself because it's changed definitions so many times to include different things at different stages and it's fear marketing. You know, they included, like, there was a time when women weren't really included in the AIDS epidemic, and then they changed it to include something that was affecting women, and then the headlines were reading like, women are the fastest rising victims of AIDS right now, and so on, you know. But yeah, there's no actual evidence of HIV being the cause of AIDS. You know, you can't find any evidence for that. There's no documentation. There's no study that will prove that.
Yeah, it's
again, I would reference Stefan Lanka. You know, if you want to research more about that, because he's one of the people who would have been taking a lot of these people to court and having a lot of stuff thrown out because they weren't able to provide the evidence. You know, a little bit like right now when you can't actually isolate the coronavirus, let alone show that it causes the disease, because they've never done any type of Cox postulate or anything like that. But no coronavirus isolated.
Yeah,
So
they haven't isolated any viruses, not just coronavirus.
Outside
of inside a body, or outside of a body, they haven't isolated any viruses at all. So they've isolated the cells, but only within the body. So there's no evidence that outside of the body any viruses exist. There's evidence that exist in the body, but there's nothing to say that they spread outside of bodies. Because the pictures that they take are always, within cells, or the virus is within the cell, so they can take pictures of things within cells. So they take blood or whatever, and then they basically put the blood on.
Even then, they can't actually just.
Yeah, but that's out.
Yeah, but it's not out, as in you can't find it on the surface somewhere. No one's found no one's isolated a virus outside of contact with human cells or with an animal cell.
Oh yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah,
so
although they say that like corona spreads in the air or whatever, through they open your windows because you can blow away the corona bugs that are in the whatever they say. No one's ever actually isolated any viruses in the air. They're always within cells or next to cells, or it's always to do with cells. It's never, and there's nothing to say that they're not just capturing something else that's already in the body, or that the virus is generated within the body. That's the other thing. There's no real evidence either way that they're not generated by the body or that they are generated by the body. Sorry, carry on. Sorry, Snuff.
I'm just looking for my notes actually because there is a report that says that they have isolated the coronavirus. Yeah, so what I did was I went through the whole methodology of it, and it's a piss take. The yeah, it's a piss take. Look, I've written some of it down here. Basically, they take fragments of the genetic. They'll take a swab, from someone who's showing symptoms.
Yeah.
They'll take material from what would be considered sick lungs from someone who's been showing symptoms. They're taking like 56 million fragments of these RNA substances and add them to an unpurified sample, mix them with a monkey kidney cell, which is called VROE6, a human liver cancer cell, CCC81, human embryonic kidney cells, HUH7.0, a human lung cancer cell, 2932, and a diseased pathogenic cancer cell from a monkey kidney cell, again, aborted fetus cell, and bovine serum, incubate them in a mixture, and then test them for cellular damage and cytopathic effect, which they also call cytopathic effect viral damage, which is just an assumption, And then the results was that only the monkey cell, the kidney cell from the monkey, actually is what they're saying was contained the virus because they could see damage happening to this cell. But to me, like the whole. Oh, and even further than that, they only find like a small amount of the genome, and then they use a computer program, GenBank, for it to sequence the rest of what they're telling us is the coronavirus.
That's the scary thing, man, is the fact that they can do all of that, and just the fact that they don't say that this is, by the way, this is computer generated, this is in silico.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't say it means that people, that they just think it's all real. And so they're saying, yeah, this is a variant, but it's actually computer generated, as you're saying. Carry on.
Yeah, it's all computer generated, man.
It's crazy, man.
Software
Crazy.
called Chimera as well, which is like, got some connotations to it. The Chimera is like a half man, half beast mythological creature, We're using software called Chimera to synthesize, to sequence an RNA strand. And it's an amazing technology, like the mRNA. But I'm sure you're aware of as well the guy who pioneered the technology, Robert Malone. He's been very vocal about the dangers of it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, like one of the pioneer of mRNA. You don't know about Dr. Robert Malone?
Nah.
Okay, yeah. Check out Dr. Robert Malone. He's another one of those who's been heavily censored for speaking on it. But the same as when obviously Carrie Mullis, the inventor of the PCR test, isn't around to speak for himself, but he spoke for himself during the AIDS scam.
Yeah.
He already said very clearly, and he was talking directly about Fauci as well, saying he's misusing this device. He was basically saying like the CDC is all crooks. They're misusing our shit, and he got the Nobel Prize for inventing the PCR test. I actually have a book by him explaining how the thing works somewhere.
Yeah, I see you got a lot of books there, man. Not playing around. That's where the knowledge is hidden right there, boy. Yeah, they hide it in the books, man. Telling you. Because they don't expect people to go and read.
We all got to be students. We all got to be students in it, because the problem is, it becomes a personality game. People are looking for answers about what's going on, so you start to look towards personalities and opinions and what resonates. But that can be fleeting and fickle. You're better off educating yourself and doing as much sort of cross-reference education as you possibly can. I actually came out of 2020 thinking it was a very good year for me, because I got myself certified in nutrition and in calisthenics, and I started my foundation in human nutrition. So I'm going from a bachelor's right now in human nutrition, I'm in the process of setting up a little business where I'm dealing with a variety of herbs, functional medicinal mushrooms, and specializing in algae. You know, because I know like the Irish moss is very popular right now, but I'm dealing with a variety of algae, the Chondrus crispus, the bladders, the dullus.
Conscious Crispus.
Chondrus crispus would be the Irish moss.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that's what you said. Yeah.
What's that?
I thought that's what you said, Conscious Crispus.
Yeah. Chondrus crispus.
Yeah. What else you got?
That's the one that I'm dealing with mainly, but obviously I'm using dullus, bladder kelps, purple lava, sea spaghetti. But really, I'm looking for the deeply pigmented varieties of the algae that are mature or just premature, grown in the summer in the deep bedrock. You know, because a lot of these algae that people are selling commercially are absolute junk, and I'm getting pretty frustrated with the sea moss hustlers. To me, they're almost as fugazi as the pharmaceutical companies, like, you know.
What's the deal with the sea moss? Like, how do people, if you could break down, like, how would people know whether it's fugazi or not, whether it's decent or whether they're being scammed? Because there's a lot of sea moss hustlers now.
I know, I know. The first thing I would say to look out for is the color, because if it's the color of me, it's bullshit. You know, it shouldn't be pale.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it should be a pigment. Oh, like you were saying earlier, you're looking for more pigmented. So it should be a darker sea moss, like more green or brown or red.
This in the ocean is deep red, brown, purplish. It's like deep red brown. It's a red algae. So is the Gracilaria, the Cotoni. They're all dark. You know, all of them. You know, the reason that we're getting these sort of pale, transparent white ones is because when they're taking them out of the ocean, they're getting sun bleached and the pigments are being destroyed. And sometimes they'll even say on people's branding that it's been sun bleached as if it's a good thing. And I'm like, it doesn't matter who bleached it or how it's been bleached. It destroyed the pigments.
Yeah.
You know, they're saying like it's like sun-dried tomato or something. It's not like that. Like, because for example, right now, you know, I see you got your glasses on. I should be wearing my.
Yeah, man.
I should be wearing my blue light.
Blue blockers, man.
I got my blue light filters.
Yeah, you got me, man. That's what these are, bruv. You know what I mean? I'm staring at these computers for all this long. Can you break down then, do us a favor and break down the benefits of sea moss? Because for people who don't realize why there's such a big hustle game now with sea moss, you got this like, you know what I mean? There's damn near the Silk Road. There's like black market for sea moss. But on the streets, like, you know, you stop at the stop at a red light. Someone try to shot you sea moss now. Like,
gone from selling ganja on the road to selling sea moss.
Bro. You know what I mean? Like, cakes. Well, bro. Man could get a key of sea moss if man need it, yeah. So what are the benefits of sea moss? Like, why is it so revered now and so sought after?
There's a lot of benefits, but a lot of the benefits are not being they're being written on the packaging, the people's gels and so on. But it's not. You're not getting that from a lot of what I'm seeing being sold, because a lot of what's important is the pigments. Like just like right now, see when you're protecting your eyes from the blue light toxicity, because this light is destroying the blue pigments in your retina, in your eyes, and also the pigment system throughout your body, your respiratory proteins, your melanin. These help to replenish what's being destroyed by the artificial light, the radiation. It's destroying the pigment system. So you want to replenish your pigment system with deeply pigmented food, which doesn't have to be the algae, but algae are very rich in cyanobacteria and so on, you know. But beyond that, they're also great for their mineral content and their mineral composition and ratios. Each species is different, so it's a different conversation about each algae.
Okay.
I should say that first, actually. By the way, sea moss isn't a thing. It's not a thing. Sea moss. It's like saying plants.
Yeah,
You know.
okay, yeah.
You know? So, for one, it's not moss. It's algae.
Or
right?
weeds, you could say weeds, innit? It's like there's loads of different types of weeds. So like,
Yeah, you know. But it's like I saw somebody's on their advertising the other day. It said that they had sea moss and bladderwrack. I thought that's like saying fruit and apple.
oh
You know what I mean?
right, yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at a lot of people, and they all say the same thing. It's got 92 minerals of the 102 the minerals that the body needs, but that's just a catch-all statement that everyone's using because they don't know they don't really know the value of what it is that they're pushing. It's good for you, you know, and I really recommend people get more algae. You don't need to go and get the sea moss from your hustler, the gel and all that. I would recommend just like trying to incorporate more like kelp into your diet, nori, like one of the main important parts of the sea moss is that it's high in iodine. Iodine is really good. Like it's a very important part of thyroid function, metabolism in general, and it's deficient in the general diet. It's the reason that they've iodized the salt, you know. But the table salt is kind of like a processed salt. It's lost a lot of its satellite minerals, so it's still not good. But at least it's one way of getting iodine into your body. But to me, it's not a good way of getting iodine into your body. The best way of getting iodine into your body is to eat more seafood. I'm plant based. You know, I'm a herbivore. I don't even deal with the fish, so I'll eat what the fish eat. So I might have the phytoplankton and the algae. And if you look at a diet like in Japan, for example, they have one of the highest lifespans on earth and a very good quality of life and health. And a lot of it is attributed to eating a wide amount of seafood and algae, you know, like the sushi and all that. But yeah, the iodine is really important. Also, it acts as a gelling agent in the body because when it breaks down, it can help to structure because the body is like a crystal lattice structure. You know, it's built in a way. It's like crystals inside crystals. They're like liquid crystals. The blood plasma, everything in the body is muscle, including the bone. You know, skeletal muscle. So it's going to help with the viscosity. Is the right word? Viscosity, sorry, of your plasma and your the integrity of your form. You know, in fact, it can also act as a Faraday cage in regards to the alien radiation, the alien light, because it's keeping you well hydrated. It's structuring and holding your water in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know if you know about the term easy water.
Wait there. You said structuring you holding your water.
No, I mean like we are made of water, right?
Yeah.
We're almost 90% water. Some people are going to say like 70-80% water, but really break it down, we're like 99% water. You know, and it's structured in a gel.
Structured water, yeah, plasma.
Exactly, you know. So the polymers, the carrageenan and the agar, whatever it is you're going to be getting out of the gel, is going to help to strengthen and structure your water, especially when you combine it with living a natural lifestyle, being underneath natural light, because the light is one of the main important factors in relation to metabolism. You know, because honestly, like you could get diabetes just staring at the screen all day because of the way that this light is affecting insulin and everything. You know, you're not sitting down, you're not moving your legs, got any circulation, but as soon as you've got the sunshine hitting your skin, turning cholesterol into vitamin D and turning arginine into nitric oxide, so you can have more flow in the circulation. But God, man, there's such a plethora of health benefits to the Irish moss. It's got a good profile of B vitamins, you know. So you want to get your B12, folate, all of that there.
Oh wow! So that's how vegans can get their B vitamins. quite easily.
But man, if you have a teaspoon of chlorella a day, and you'll be that's you for your B12 and your iron. Like really, So I can make a juice with some Irish moss, throw some chlorella in there, put some more greens in there, put a load of ginger, something like an apple or something, sweet it up, and that's the vibe, Or you can make a salad and throw phytoplankton and chlorella on it. Or you can just eat like dulles straight with some lime, One thing I do is like a little trick, because a lot of sea moss is salty. So I would make the flakes, get the dulles and the kelp and the bladderwrack and the nori, make it so that it's really fine and flaky, and then use it instead of salt. Because it's already salty, and you're getting those minerals, and you're getting your iodine, and so you can put that on your stir fry, on your soup, on whatever.
Yeah.
I do that all the time, and I make sure that I've got I'm getting algae into my diet every day. It's also a great fat. It's got the DHA, which is important for your brain growth. So yeah, it's good for your neurochemistry. It's also full of what we would call sulfated polysaccharides, which is like the carrageenan, yeah. And I could pull up studies for you, like here and now, where they've already done it on the corona.
What?
In some in vivo studies, because the relationship between like the spike protein attaching to the ACE2 receptor site and that whole narrative, right? The sulfated polysaccharides, they act like an antigen. They have the shape like a little fork that will clip onto the spike protein and take it out of action, and it'll be pulled into your lymph and disposed of. So the sulfur compounds in the moss is really, really, really good for keeping your defenses up. It also helps to feed your bone marrow. And if you know anything about bone marrow, that's where all stem cell differentiation comes from.
Yeah.
So as long as when you're feeding your bone marrow, you're really feeding you're putting money in the bank.
Yeah. So, it provides your
blood. Every day
right?
your blood is taxing your bones. Like if you're deficient in any mineral, it's going to come out of the bones. And if you ever notice, like everybody's granny is shrinking, right? And it's because people are having shrinkage in their bones. And the reason people are shrinking in their bones is because they're just using their bones as a bank for what they're not getting out of their diet and consumption. People are wearing that down and not replenishing it. So the algae are a really good way of replenishing essential minerals, fats, and just compounds that are neuroprotective and protective of physiology. But again, it's a dilemma, because now people are shotting it like on road like it's nothing, and they're selling fugazi stuff with all these types of health benefits, without even going into detail like what I'm badly trying to express actually. But people are just saying the catchphrases, the 92 minerals, blah blah blah. That doesn't really mean anything. You could just eat rock and say the same thing. You could say this rock has got 92 minerals in it. Like, it's not about the minerals, it's more about tissue salts and how it can be absorbed and become useful to the body. And it's also to do with ratio as well, because if you want to get a little bit more esoteric on it, the ratio of calcium and phosphorus in the Chalderness crispus, for example, is perfect. I know we spoke before about Weston A. Price.
Yeah.
In this book, this book was a dietitian traveled the world in the 1930s, looking at people who are in their optimum health, primarily in isolated, untouched communities, living indigenous lifestyles and diets. And all across the world, like Asia, Central America, even the north coast of Ireland, we had some kind of like remote dales, which is the closest things related to me. And it's interesting to see what their diet was. But everybody who was eating a diet that was natural, but not just natural, it's also the cultivation methods. The soil was good. The soil was rich in its microbiome. No, not microbiome. You know the what's the right word there for the what's in the soil? All the life in the soil anyway. It's all there. You know, it's active. Because now the point I'm saying is that these days the pesticides and over monoculture in the crops has really destroyed the soils, and it's taken a lot of because the plants are basically breaking down the minerals, sucking them up and making them bioavailable to us. But the plants are not going to have anything in the plants if they're being grown in deficient soils. You know, so back in the day, or a natural habitat, if you're living in the jungle, everything is rich and nourishing to you. You know, this book was showing you that, like, first generation away from that dietary lifestyle, a natural native diet, people were falling apart straight away. You know, people were coming down with tuberculosis. They were coming down with the drawers were getting out of shape. Everybody had really bad teeth. You know, because this guy's a dentist. He was mainly studying the teeth, but it wasn't just the studies in this book shows you. It wasn't just the teeth that were improved by bringing the diet back to a native diet. They were also getting their cognitive function back. Behavioral disorders were being sorted out, you know, because there's so many things that are related to diet that you wouldn't be surprised about, like including just being an arsehole.
Yeah. You are what you eat, they say, innit? If you eat
And
arsehole.
it's real, you know.
You are what you eats. No, it's true. Well, whatever you're eating, like you're saying, if it's not eating, so if you're eating cows and they're not eating grass that's nutritional, then, like, you know,
you're more likely to be.
Yeah, and if that's
yeah.
Because like I say, you know, I'm a herbivore by choice, but I always say to people who eat the meat, you're much better off eating like a wild game. And even in the commercial aspects, I'd even suggest, like, people probably you'd be better off maybe eating something like turkey because it's less fucked with.
Yeah, the least farmed.
I'm talking about the store-bought shit.
Yeah, the least farmed food that you can eat, the better, really. If you want to eat red meat, you're better off eating venison than you are cows, because it's harder to farm venison. Although you can keep them in enclosures, they need to run around to be able to get the meat to be any good, which means they can go and eat what they want. And, you know, so even if they're feeding them at one place at night or in the morning, they've got time to run off and eat what they want.
Yeah,
that's so it's going to be better. It's going to be more free range than a bloody factory farmed cow.
It's not much better for the vegetables either, you know, because now that's the point I was making about how it wasn't just the foods; it was the methods of how they were growing in these rich fertile soils. Now we have like not only deficient soils, but plants that have had their there's a pathway in plants. I'm not sure if you're aware of them. It's called the Shikamati pathway. In the Shikamati pathway in the plants, that's where they create your aromatic aminos, like the tyrosine, the tryptophan, and the phenylalanine. And it's their job to trap and metabolize light, you know. And when we eat them through our diet, our diet, it's neuroprotective. It helps just general physiology. It's really important, you know, for the production of serotonin and melatonin. So having a healthy dose of your regular tyrosine and tryptophan in your body is going to keep you anxiety free. You know, that's one of the things that's really got people messed up right now is anxiety. And I know through 2020 there was definitely a psychological targeted attack to get everybody on their like as shaken as possible. You know, I mean, I was suffering with anxiety through 2020 as well, because as much as I'm aware of what was popping, that was also a stressor, because I noticed that everybody around me was like kind of going along with it, and that was freaking me out. You know, the
Yeah.
pain started to drop for more and more people as time went on, and I found myself with a little bit more of a support circle. And like right now, I'm actually like really past that whole stage. Like I got like a big gang of us now, you know, and I'm noticing it becoming quite more prevalent that people are like going like, oh, okay.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bizarre, but I wish people would still would correlate what they're feeling now to what they were feeling then, because we all saw the same stuff. We saw people dropping dead in the street and all them mismatched suits and the really over the top.
Yeah, you mean that we saw the videos of that? We didn't actually see it ourselves, innit? Like no one actually saw it themselves. Like it was just videos. It was all like imagery and information thrown at us, and we're thinking like, yo, oh wow, is that wow, you know? And then bam.
Scary shit. But has anyone seen anyone fall dead in the streets from, like right now they are admitting it, that it's no more of a threat than the flu officially.
Well, just today.
They did that last year, man. They did it last year in March.
Just today, the Italian.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know, but it wasn't really like across all of the headlines. They did that. It's on the government website. They put it on the like that was even before the lockdown. It was announced that it wasn't a high infectious disease.
It's crazy. It's like a week or 2 weeks before.
Consequence disease. You can look on the government UK website. Like I think it was like March 17th or something. No, before the lockdown, which makes all of the lockdowns illegal and all these criminals ready for some Nuremberg shit. You know, but the problem is that they've got people playing along with it and they're crooks. So like law doesn't really mean a lot when they're moving in massive numbers like that, and they got so fucking much money. You know, and like all these fact check sites as well that they fund are seems to be all it takes to discredit any type of information. You know, in the same way that you got like a Nobel Prize winner like Luc Montagnier or the guy who invented the mRNA, Robert Malone, or so many of these doctors. I've written quite a lot of their names down because I'm always trying to put people onto different people to check out, like for more information, because everyone's always like, oh, where are you getting all this stuff from,
DJ Snuff.
I don't really seem to be having that problem as much now, but before, especially on my street, because I live in a housing cooperative, which is a curse and a blessing, because it's a blessing because of the collective economics and the community and everything. But it's also a curse because we basically, as a street, went into lockdown. Like I shared a house with about 7 other people, and where there's a couple of people that are uncomfortable with other people coming into the house and they're looking to sterilize everything. I have to at least respect their anxiety and not try to rub nothing in anyone's face, So I was kind of like just staying a little bit humble about that,
Yeah, that's love, man. Like it gets to that point where you realize, like, the anger. Once you get past the anger, then you realize, like, oh shit, these people are scared, man. Like the least, the worst thing I could do is make them even more scared. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, all right, you just have to kind of, like you said, play along with it and kind of bite your tongue.
That's what my sister was saying, because my sister was listening to me for quite a while. I was kind of hoping that I was going to plant some seeds, because I knew that the injections were coming. I knew they were coming quick.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was one of the last posts I put up on the on one of the groups that I had on the Facebook. I was saying, like, I think I shared something from Buju, because Buju is another person who's had his eyes. I'm very grateful for Buju Bantam in this time, a few other people like that. But I posted something from Buju, and I think he was saying, "Don't take the vaccine."
Yeah.
And this was like March 2020, and I posted that, and I was getting comments like saying, "What vaccine? There's no vaccine." I said, "Watch like this time next year, though." If not sooner. Like, and they said, "Well, that's impossible. They can't do this, that, and the other." I said, "Listen, watch. Like, they've got it ready. Like, they're scaring you now, and like like we're in early days of where they're going to take us. Like, the jobs are just part of the process to get us acclimatized to." Bending our will to that and bringing in what we know of as the biometric systems and the cashless society and the social credit score tied into carbon credits. Like, they're coming right now with the climate chat. The climate chat's all they talk about carbon, and they want to monetize carbon. And tied as a carbon footprint and give you carbon credits based on social credit systems, you know, like what they have in China. Well, in China they've got the social credit system, but they haven't tied it in with carbon credits yet. But if you really peep what their plans are, you know, through the World Economic Forum and the Wellcome Trust have got a project called the Wellcome Leap. And Wellcome Leap is tied into the transhumanism, the terraforming of the biology, infusing with technology. And you know, your man Facebook just changed their whole thing to the metaverse, whatever they're calling it. You know,
the metaverse, boy. The next,
what do they call it?
The next
Metaverse?
universe. The metaverse. Isn't it? No,
Yeah,
meta.
No.
Yeah.
What's in a name?
You know, there was a Black Mirror episode that reminded me of that one so much. Do you remember the Black Mirror where your man has an avatar and he goes on to like an X Factor style thing to get vengeance for a girlfriend of his?
Oh yeah. Well, as a comedian and all that. Is it that one? No, I'm messing it up. No. I'm thinking of X-Files. Did you say? No, you're saying Black Mirror, innit? Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
Yeah. No, sorry, man, I missed
I
that.
forget the name of the episode, but there was an episode. It was freaking brilliant. Yeah, it's freaking brilliant. But it was showing you like everyone's living in like single room spaces with all of their technology, and their friendships are mainly done through avatars. People are going to work, they're going to sit in studio audiences, they're going to rave. Everything's done through an avatar.
Oh yeah. I remember this one now. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's part of the predictive programming that they always show us, like what's coming, you know.
Shout to Kenny Rebel. Kenny Rebel says collecting metadata. That's exactly it, boy. They changed the name to Meta just to show you they're collecting metadata.
Yeah.
Kenny Rebel with that one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, like, to be honest, you know. I got into computer games when I was like an early teenager, and then I think around Mega Drive time, and then after that I never really caught up, you know. I used to go around my friends' houses and they were playing like some FIFA thing on a headset, just completely ignoring me. And I'm like, I'm gonna go and hang out with some people that want to talk.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I went through the era of like arcade games and playing like you know, Street Fighter. Them days it was like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
That's like you going out with your
Mario
friends,
Kart,
isn't it?
you're blazing and all that.
You've got two-player games and all that. Like you're next to each other.
I realized from then I was like, yo, if I get one of these, I ain't gonna want to go out. Like, I'm just I'm gonna try and be clocking it. I was like, nah, it's gonna waste too much time. So I'm glad I didn't, boy. Especially now.
Yeah, but what cracks me up though is like when you see these games like Sims, where they're creating these universes and lives for themselves, and I think, well, why not just like apply that to real life? You know, let's make today's task start a business. You know? Let's make today's task to build a platform for artists or something. You know, let's make today's task go to the woods. Let's go swimming.
Yeah, for real. It's like it is that thing though, isn't it? You'd rather just sit at home and build this world that you think you're doing something positive. You think you're doing something, you know.
Because they've got so much social anxiety about being around each other, you know. But you know me, I've always been a builder and trying to create platforms and events and have people around. And,
yeah, hard work.
That's a big part of what I always try to do. It's what I see myself as in regards as an artist. I don't generally just make products and art. I always make like happenings and events. You know, some of them are better than others, you know, but some of them are spectacular. Like, you know, I get inspired by theatre, and I like to put what I've learned from going to see theatre into a stage show. You know, even if everybody involved doesn't know the full scope of the show, I have it in my mind what role they're playing on the night. You know, and how it's all going to fit together and how the whole event's going to roll out. It's by providing a good experience for people to have some good energy and some joy.
Yeah.
You know, or to live and learn, because like Speaker's Corner was really quite politicized as well. You know, I used to say it was free entry, free speech and all that. You know, because my love of hip hop was that it was speaking truth to power and that. You know. And in fact, in 2020, I feel like hip hop let me down.
All right, before we get into that, can you break down your role in Speaker's Corner and like the beginnings there?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm talking about Speaker's Corner, Brixton, not Hyde Park, for people who don't know. But the name was obviously taken from and inspired by what goes on in Hyde Park, Marble Arch. They have like a, I don't know if it's every day, but it's regular. They have people standing on pedestals and their soapboxes, just ranting and arguing and debating. So we took that to Brixton. We called it Speaker's Corner Brixton, but we did it it was more for rap and spoken word, and sometimes song, but word sound power. And mainly rap, because, you know, I was rolling with a lot of just heavy punching MCs, you know, especially at the very beginning of Speaker's Corner. It was me and Manage. We were the sort of like the tag team, little gang that were helping making that run. Me and Manage, and also my friend Steve was an All City King, graffiti don. He was running a graffiti supplies shop in Brixton Village Market, HQ Frontline Hip Hop Supplies. But basically, we launched Speaker's Corner at Bar Loca, which after a few months became Brixton Jam, because Brixton Jam had only just bought Bar Loca. But when we launched, it was Bar Loca.
Jeez.
And I think I had, on the very first night, this free entry event, Poisonous Poets, Elite Team, the IRS, Managing CLG, Conflicts and all of that crew, Logic, the Craftsmen, which was like Frantic Frank, who was English Frank back then, all that gang. I think it was probably even Big L and Skeen, you know, a real wide variety of artists from around the way. The IRS from New Cross. But up until the point where I launched Speaker's Corner, I was doing a lot of squat parties with a lot of these same artists, because we were also at that time, I used to DJ at the Deal Real Carnaby Street on the Friday open mic.
Yeah.
Because I know your original Deal Real Foundation crew.
Yeah. No, but I used to come through. Yeah, that was my Deal Real days. But I used to come through though to Deal Real number 2, Deal Real 2.0.
Yeah, Deal Real number 2. Like that. Yeah. So I was there. It was like Doc Brown and everybody was hosting that. I used to DJ Snips and that, you know. But a lot of the artists that were coming through there, like after Deal Real's done, like there was nowhere else really to go. You know, there was a few hip hop nights that were happening. Me and Solo One, we used to do street teaming for a lot of clubs, like Scratch and that, and putting up the flyers and all that kind of stuff. And we were also doing it for the Kung Fu Flyer Pack. You know,
man, I remember.
That was that was the name of the night, right?
Yeah, that was the name of the event. Yeah, Kung Fu.
Yeah. That was brilliant. Yeah. Like you and Sarah and Harry and everything.
Yeah.
Night as well.
Yeah,
you know, man. I loved that night at the Underworld, man. That was really dope.
Yeah, it was all good night, man.
But even those two dudes that were running that, I remember asking them about gigs, and they hadn't heard of the IRS or Manager, no one, you know. So I was a bit frustrated, saying like, "There's nowhere, no one's giving us a slide in anywhere, you know." So my philosophy in life is DIY or die, you know. So it was kind of DIY, and because we were already doing squat parties and doing all that stuff, all we just needed a venue. We all rolled in, and we did the thing, you know. The first few months, maybe even the first year, I was still drinking, and everything was a little bit haphazard, but it was fun, you know. I think it was after I got a little bit more swaggy with organizing stuff, it started to become a really well organized night, you know, where I put the house band together and everything. People might have heard of the Speaker's Corner Quartet. You know, they're back in action right now. They just did a sold out show at the Barbican.
Yeah.
They had Tempest and Sampha and Swag Hutchins and everybody up on stage with them.
Tawia and all that. Yeah, that's big, man.
That was Quake. I mean, in fact, our house band, if you're looking back then, like, because I introduced those guys to each other for the first day, and they were playing like Mobb Deep and Nas and Wu-Tang instrumentals and all that type of shit there, with the drums, double bass, cello, and flute. And it was kind of wild because a lot of the MCs were just rampant open mic style, listening to them as if they're a backing track, you know.
Yeah.
We're on stage like trying to guard the cello from all the people who are just trying to grab the mic off each other, you know. But it was fun. It was really good time, good energy, and in the trenches of a very I don't know how to describe it. You know, had a really good energy, and it got such a good reputation after a while. People were coming from everywhere wanting to perform. You know, like we had even on the second day, the Foreign Beggars were performing. I think we had Anti-Heroes, which was Solar and Lee Scott back then, and got so many good artists. You know, we even had people coming over from America and jumping on stage with us as well when they were touring. You know, I remember Saigon come through, and Scram Jones and Diabolic, and you know. So, and that's the other side of what we were pushing was it was political, it's social narrative, you know. Like my philosophy was like everyone can get up there and chat whatever they want. It was free speech. But at the end of the day, like the hosts are kind of like coming from an angle, and the event is kind of coming from an angle. So overall, we're leaning in a particular direction, which was on an activist style tip. You know, because we'd also have speakers come down. We had speakers from the family of John Charles and Menzies. We had families that were seeking justice from Lambeth Police Station for deaths in police custody. You know, one night after our show, we marched the entire club up to Lambeth Police Station and got everybody in the club to fill out a complaints form. We were there for hours.
Wow, serious?
You know, yeah. It was. I think it was one of the contributing factors for having us closed down, actually, because you know our event was packed with graffiti vandals, you know, and they were all on the watch list.
Yeah.
So that's what we were dealing with in regards to topics and that, you know what I mean? And also, even in the other room, Keith Lawrence was DJing along with my friend Bashment Bish and Dark. And Bashment Bish name got Bashment in his name, right? And we're in Brixton, and apparently you're not allowed to have Bashment on a flyer.
Oh shit, you're not allowed Bashment on the flyer in Brixton?
Not at that time.
Wow.
No. It's probably something else now, drill or whatever, you know what I mean? But at the time, you couldn't be promoting Bashment on the flyer, you know? So they came to the venue and demanded from the owners there that our event becomes a members-only event, and that the security have to have a camera on their caps. That was the ultimatum to keep the night going. So I decided, well, I'll call it a day then, innit?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, but we didn't disappear. We actually went around the corner into Cold Harbour Lane into a Shubs, and it was a really good timing because the smoking ban had just come in, and now we'd come to the Shubs where everybody could get away with smoking herbs and that inside, you know. And it was like a little members thing. So what the name we used for that was People's Army, which is one of the reasons why People's Army really took off.
Oh, so that's how People's Army name came about, was from the Shubs?
Yeah, from the Shubs, but also it was in one of the Craftsman lyrics. You know, Craftsman is what I was saying is Frank and Prodigal Son and Manic. I think it was Prodigal Son had a lyric. It was like, "We need a People's Army." Then Frank got carried away, as he does, and went and had 1 billion hoodies printed. And that was it, you know. Now we've got all these hoodies. That's it with the People's Army. Right?
Wow.
You know, but obviously that's how it started for us. But you know, we're also associated, or at least myself and a few people that I work with are also associated with Dead Prez. You know, but it wasn't the same People's Army. It was just the name came about the same way. You know, but we connect with Dead Prez. and that family later on down the line, you know. So we've built the bridge between the People's Army and the People's Army.
Wow.
You know what I mean? We're on the same page, really, you know.
Yeah.
RBG
That's
hip-hop.
deep, boy. That's deep, bro.
There's been a big People's Army was popping during that time. Logic was putting out his music, Frank was putting out his music, Lil Key was down with what we were doing with, he was putting out his shit. You know, there's a lot of other people that are associated with us that were moving, but then it kind of went quiet. But it's kind of back in gear right now because Logic has set up a studio called The Kingship, and he's been basically just doing open studio sessions, letting people come through and making compilation albums under the name People's Army.
Jeez, what's it called? So people can head down there if there's any MCs that want to head down there, or singers
called,
even.
Kingship.
Kingship.
Caledonian Road.
All right.
But you're best to hit up Logic or hit up Kingship Studios, I think it's called, on Instagram.
Heavy.
Yeah. And you can definitely get involved, especially if you're feeling what we're about. But to be honest, it's more flexible than what I am with my immediate circle. You know, People's Army is a place to nurture talent. We're not going to refuse anybody.
Oh, wicked.
You know, yeah, we like to try to bring people into the fold and help them with their artistry. You know.
So you're saying no matter which level you're on, or no matter which level you feel you're on, come through. Do you know what I mean? And even better still, if you think there are some like gaps and things that need filling, these guys, People's Army can help you. You know what I mean? Like nurture that style and become a better artist in whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever angle. I really appreciate that, man. That's because
just being around other artists is inspiring
exactly.
Anyway, you know, you when you pick the levels, you got to kind of raise your levels, you know.
Yeah.
Or just do your own thing as long as what you are doing is authentic and solid. You know what I mean?
It's another form of like hitting the open mic, innit? Like I talk about this to a lot of up and coming artists or MCs that I see. I'm like, trust me, the open mic is where you're gonna find out whether what you're doing is good or not, because you don't know any of these people standing in front of you. And if you know what I mean, you drop your bars and people start booing or whatever, you know, like, all right, I need to go back and work on this shit. If people start making noise, then you know, like, right, I need to do more of this. This is working. And if people don't make any noise, then you're like, all right, you've probably got something there. You just need to tinker it a bit. But these are the people that you don't know from Adam, and they're giving you their honest opinion. Just even by the looks on their face, you can be spitting and just look on their face and be like, right, mama's not really feeling it. All right, let me, you know what I mean? So yeah.
There's going to be other circles where everyone's a little bit more snobbish and elitist about the talent levels, you know?
Yeah. You're gonna get that. That's part of it. That's part of it, man. That's part of the culture. You know what I mean? You just handle it in a way that is of the same light, I guess like you can't really take anything too much to heart, because, you know, otherwise it's probably gonna stop you from like progressing. So the more you do it, the more, you know, I think it gets easier. That whole, it's like friendly competition,
anyway,
you know.
It gives you different levels for you to think about attaining to. You know what I mean? Because when I first started out practicing the scratching, I was no friggin' prime cuts. You know what I mean? You know, like day one, you're whack, innit?
How did you get started DJing?
I was a b-boy in Belfast, man. I was in the Belfast City Breakers, and I was the youngest of my crew. They're all nearly 10 years older than me, first generation Belfast City Breakers. They're from like late 70s, 80s, you know.
Jeez.
And I'm 45 right now, you know. I was raised during the Troubles, and my house had got burnt down for the second time when I was 14, and I kind of found myself out on road.
For the second time?
And, the second time, yeah, it was burnt down, you know, because I was living on a flashpoint between the Falls and the Shangle, and there's a bit of bother there. You know, we call it the Troubles. So our street was a bit of a running battle. You know, it wasn't just the British soldiers, but like their neighbours. Sectarian violence, loyalists and Republicans, people who identify with the Union Jack, people who identify with the tricolour. You know, and I'm just a child. You know, like the Oliver Child thing, what the fuck's going on here, like, you know. And it's very easy to get caught up in that, like, you know. But this is one of the reasons I'm so grateful for hip hop, because I bumped into the Belfast City Breakers, and they were already cross community group from a variety of ends, and I felt like this shit had just risen us up out of all that bullshit straight away and given me like this whole world view about, you know, this whole world of, because when you listen to hip hop, you're not listening to not when I first started, it wasn't rap. Rap was part of it. But we were listening to funk breaks, electro, Miami bass, you know, all that shit. That was all hip hop. You know what I mean? Because we were playing for like breakdance parties, like the real hip hop, from how I understand hip hop then, and to be honest, even now, is based around the breaking and the dance scene. You know, because it's the dance scene that's always influenced the DJs, and the MCs were with the DJs, and it was the DJs coming with the drum machine and chopping up the stuff that was making the production style that we got to know of as hip hop, and then, you know, rap became more of a forefront thing, and then I think rap is almost like its own massive thing now, rap music.
Wow, you know? Yeah, we don't think about it like that, innit? Like the DJ was actually playing what he was playing because of the breakers. It wasn't necessarily about the MCs at all. The MCs came later.
Yeah, and it wasn't all just breakers. There was all different styles of dance, like, you know what I mean? That's why, like, in America, you would have had them mixing up like the Latino styles with the funk and the disco and the heavier shit, even rock breaks, you know what I mean? And the electro and all that type of stuff. So, but the big chunky breaks, and then putting the more heavier, like the 808 drums and all that, and then rappers coming in, started to turn into what we know of as hip hop music, you know. But it was so sample based because of the inspiration of the DJ, you know. We were chopping up all that stuff, doubling that shit up, samples on top of samples, drum machines. But then the lawsuits came into the game, and people fell back on the sampling and started producing these, like, the rhythms that we're kind of hearing more now. So there's been a big change in how hip hop represents.
Yeah, it's a very amicable way of saying that.
Not, you know. Like, for example, I always fight against the whole those energy drink sponsored breakdance battles.
The
main one I'm not even going to mention. You already know who they are. Because I know I can't play for them. You know, for one, my ethics won't let me promote sugar to children. But the other thing is that I know that they're wary of what is being played on their battles. If it's being put on YouTube, they want their music to be produced in their studios. And a lot of the time that stuff is like just mechanical breakbeat crap, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, I may want to still drop some James Brown in a final.
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, no, that's not gonna, because they gotta do some royalty vibe or whatever. I'm like, I'm not feeling that approach no more. I just like I like what it was that saved my life, you know? Which is why even now, when the youngers come into the studio and all that, we want to encourage them and make them feel part of it, because I think as soon as you start to feel welcome in a space and good about doing something, you're going to become good at it regardless, you know? And even if you don't come good at that, you get good at something, because at least your confidence is being supported.
Yeah, for real. I mean? So in terms of the DJing stuff, like, what was it that, you know what I mean, drew you in and you was like, okay, this is what I want to do? Was it the fact that you were seeing them, you know, getting these breakers
do you know what it was? It was because like, they were all so much better at me at breaking, and I was feeling embarrassed, like, trying to catch up. And one of the dudes, Scotty, B-boy DJ Scotty in Belfast, yeah, he had the decks in his house and he had all the old school records. And I was like a younger, hanging around with them. Like I said, I'd come kind of like on the road, and it was only them guys that were kind of looking out for me. My friend Boogaloo Boo, me and him were like best mates. We were like kind of like ravers, you know, just on a squat flex, you know.
Yeah.
He's a b-boy, dope b-boy Boo. And then there's the two twins. John just passed away recently. Got RFP John Madden. So there was John and William Madden, and there was b-boy Steve, and there was Paddy G. And Stoney. But when they were going to do their routines, I would learn the set for their routines, and I'd become the DJ for the Belfast City Breakers. So we would go out and do shows, and I would be part of the show DJing the routine that I've learned from Scotty.
Yeah.
When I'm like 14, 15, 16, that sort of time, you know, we were doing shows around Belfast, Northern Ireland, South Ireland, and I was even went over to Battle of the Year with them in Germany when I was like quite young. And then my first experience of coming over here, I went to Fresh 97, Mickey Blue Eyes event.
Yeah.
In Folkestone.
Wow.
That just blew my mind because that's where I saw the Invisible Scratch Pickles and the Scratch Perverts and Jurassic 5 and old school heads like Grandmaster Kaz, Treacherous Free, Mystical Journeymen, underground shit like that. I was seeing UK groups like Mud Farm, Aspects. It was Blade's last ever show.
What, 97? 97. Yeah.
I'm laughing because I know he'll be laughing, you know?
Yeah.
He's always told us.
So shout out to Blade, man. I'll say shout out to Blade. We had him on here a few weeks ago as well, man.
Blade's a really lovely man, you know? He's one of those guys who'll just like talk shit forever. You know, he's been a big supporter of Manage because I think Manage has been always looked up to Blade when he was first coming, just trying to learn. And this is where I'm living. I'm living in New Cross, like, this is how I know Manage is. Like, we live around the corner, and this is where Blade was from as well. So it was like close-knit circles, you know. But yeah, with the DJing, I just really enjoyed the DJing because it was when everybody else was getting really good at the breaking. I found something I was getting good at, and I just decided to throw myself into it. And I was doing that sort of like, you know, 7 days, 8 hours a day, just practicing the scratching, you know, fanatically, to the point where I got good at scratching. I found mixing really easy, and I really enjoyed playing for the breaking ciphers, and I just love DJing. I love music. I'm really obsessed with music. Before I was, I've always just been DJing, even if I haven't been DJing. You know, I'm always wanting to try and play music to people.
Yeah, man, I know.
You know? I want to have. If you show me a new style of music, I want to go and learn everything about it. I'm learning about the culture. I'm learning about the history. I'm learning about everything. You know, it's a way about learning about the cultures of the world, and there's so much you can learn through music. And that's I have a bigger appreciation of hip hop through its music than I think a lot of people may do, because I don't look at hip hop as a monocultured, one-dimensional thing, as like a rap situation.
Yeah, we've often had this sort of, you brought this up in a conversation where you don't necessarily look at hip hop the same as everyone else does. There'll be music that people are like, oh, this is like, say, Afrobeat, or and you'll be like, no, this is hip hop. Yeah, this is, you know.
I wouldn't just say that Afrobeat is hip hop. I'd say if I was playing it and I was doubling it up and doing tricks with it, and there was breaking going on, there was someone on the mic, then hip hop.
Yeah,
you know?
wow.
Have to be like a Lord Finesse beat.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like chopping up the original breaks. Like, and the breaks could come from anywhere. That's the point I'm making. You can get some breaks from some, you know, cumbia music or some shit. You know what I mean? If you go digging, you're gonna find it. You know. So to me, like the boogaloo, the disco, like early house, like all that, even acid house, early jungle, like a lot of that stuff to me was like all part of what hip hop was starting to flower into, or its different branches and so on. You know.
Jeez, that Fresh 98. Your ma said she went down to Fresh 98. It was outstanding.
I was at Fresh 97, but I went to Fresh 98 as well. That was at Stratford Rex. Is that the one she's talking about?
I'm not sure. It sounds familiar though.
Yeah. I went to the Stratford Rex, Fresh 98. We were on the lineup for that, Belfast City Breakers.
Oh, for real?
I don't think we were on the lineup for 97. I think we just went. And then we were on the lineup for 99 as well, which was on Nottingham. And then I think that was the last one because I don't think Blue Eyes Missus would let him throw away any more money.
Mickey Blue Eyes. Shout out to Mickey Blue Eyes, boy.
Yeah,
legendary shit
I don't really know
there.
Blue Eyes that well, but he did some brilliant things within Fresh events. Like, you know.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Got a rating for that. Like that was really dope. And I know that was actually like a revival from they were doing that in the late 80s, weren't they?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, they had like Fresh 88 or some shit, Fresh 89. You know, so like Fresh 97 was like a reunion event. You know.
Hard work, man. Speaking of which, man, you're a hard working mother lover, bruv. Like, you know, so obviously getting the idea of how you got into DJing, did you ever think that you'd be doing as much as you've done so far? In terms of like, let's reel off some of these names now. Obviously, you got the People's Army, you know, Logic, Loki, Frank. Then you got the Conganati side. Because of your taste, you know, you've got a diverse taste in music. You're able to bring, you know, your talents to different genres of music as well.
That's what I'm saying, because to me, my introduction to hip hop wasn't rap, it was dance. So I continued to DJ for dance. And you'll find me DJing for a house battle, like a house dance style. You'll also find me spinning for what they call zanku, right? Legwork, which is like a West African dance style. Or more obscure to people in this country, like there's dance styles like the Kutsi, Kutukale, you know, the Rumba. My boy DJ Timber, who was also a younger of mine in Belfast City Breakers, because after our first generation, we had a second generation, and B-Boy Timber became one of the top B-Boy circuit DJs, and he actually moved to Barcelona and become a salsa DJ. But he's still chopping that up like in a hip hop way, and he's doing salsa dance battles, and he's jumping on the B-Boy battles. You know, so to me it's dance, you know. So when I get into Afro beats, it's because I'm excited by the dancers, you know. On the house dance floor, it's the same way. My relationship with reggae is more because of the word sound power and the spirituality of it and the Bon Babylon of it. You know, I relate to that in the same way that I relate to a lot of rap. But as a DJ, I've really been engaged with international competition dance, cultural dance, and the fusion and those sort of like social circles, you know. Because I even know here in London, there's like different bubbles of hip hop that may not even be completely aware of each other, but because I'm sort of in this place where I go to the dance world and go to the rap world, I'm seeing different communities, you know. Because I know like there's a French promoter who's been living in London forever, D-Lo. I'm sure you would know D-Lo. A lot of people don't. D-Lo's always running like he's gonna have a dance event on like right now somewhere. You know, he's like me, but just strictly in the dance world. You know.
Yeah.
I'll be DJing for them, and their style. It's still a hip hop event, you know. But again, they're still on that playing hip hop, funk, electro, house, and everyone really having a great time. You know, and you'll find as well that it's much more mixed in regards to male and female as well. You know, because you know rap had a bad stigma for just bringing the Amazon out, which has changed in recent times, thankfully. You know, but there definitely was a time when we were going to like even early days of speakers. It wasn't it was mainly the guys coming out. It was more when we started getting the hot clubs like Loki and that, you know, and like rice dishes. More girls would turn up. But now there's much more girls on the mic as well, which is like that's really changed the dynamic as well. On top of that, on top of everything.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the women are leading the way right now.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. You ain't lying, man. So yeah, so from these different mixtures, you know, like I said, Conganati. All right, shout out to IBMCs. He said Caxton Press. You know, doing
that's my crew.
EO
Caxton
Dub.
Press came later after Chain of Command, and Chain of Command came after Expect No Mercy, because that was the same lineage. It's always been me and Manage.
Shout out to Manage.
And right now, Manage is running his label,
Lab 79. Yeah.
You know, we're going to be doing that show together at the Chip Shop on Thursday, December the 9th.
Yeah, let's get that up, man. Yeah, man, that's going to be down at the Chip Shop.
Me and Jazz T on the decks with yourself hosting.
Yeah.
And we're going to have Rain. We got Conflicts, MC Killer, Manage, Skirmish. And
You got the flyer
man,
here somewhere.
yeah, you know, that's going to be a really nice night, you know what I mean? Because that's like a fusion of the Caxton Press, Rhyme Asylum, us lot, innit? Apex
Yeah.
Zero, that's my brother.
Yeah. Manage, MC Killer, Skirmish, Rain, Apex Zero, Conflicts, Jack Diggs, Menace Mendoza, DJs, Jazz T, and Snuff. Man, right here. I'm going to be hosting. That's at the Chip Shop, the 9th of December. So you got a little time to get yourself prepared. The 9th of December, the doors open at 8 p.m. And guess what? It's free, mother lovers. It's free. Yeah, that's how we're treating you lot, man. Down at the Chip Shop. It's going to be good, man. It's going to be fire. Fire. Yeah, Kenny Rebel knows. Dropping them flames there, boy. That's going to be some bars in the building, man. Bars.
Bring back on bars, man.
Shout out to Manage, man. Shout out to Manage. Yeah, they're bringing it. Lab 79 are bringing back them bars for sure. Like, there's no doubt about that, boy. The videos they've been dropping.
Like it, you know, because I feel like there's a time and place. You know, I'll chat about Rebel, right? Like Rebel MC is Congo Natty. Rebel MC is a hip hop artist, right? Some people might see him as a pop artist, but if you dig, check out his records, Wood Sound Power and all that. Rebel MC is a dope MC, man. So I do some DJing with Rebel MC, and he brings me on board with the Congo Natty crew.
That's crazy,
man. You know, and I play bass. You know, I play bass on some of the Congo Natty rhythm.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man.
Well, I didn't know you played bass.
And live as well. In the show, on the live stage show, we have 2 bass players. We have 2 bass players, 2 drummers, 1 section, keys, the whole shebang, you know, backing vocalist. And then the Congo Natty All Stars, which was Tenafly, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
Tenafly, alongside Top Cat, Daddy Freddy, General Levi, Sweetie Irie, and Tipper Irie. And my sisters, Nancy and Phoebe. Nancy and Phoebe are 2 young soldiers that are just super dope. Nancy sings and Phoebe rap.
Yeah.
Phoebe's definitely one to look out for. She was going under the name I Am Dread as a jungle MC, but she's releasing music right now under the name Phoebes, where she's rapping and producing, and she's just got her own studio. So look out for Phoebes, like, cause she's just a great MC.
Yeah.
And she started out MCing just by jumping on the stage with us and being like, "Make some noise."
Oh, for
you know,
one of them where she just dived in head first.
She didn't have no lyrics. She didn't have no lyrics. Now she's got all the lyrics. You know, but like she learned how to like MC and host the crowd before rapping. You know, which is brilliant. And I actually toured the whole world with Nancy and Phoebe. We toured China. We toured all around Eastern Europe, a lot of Europe. We toured like North and West Africa. You know, bringing jungle. That was just straight up jungle music. You know.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. We did jungle tours because when they released, because Congo Natty Bass Records put out Nancy and Phoebe, they did a cover of Turbulence Notorious. And as a part of the promotional campaign for that release, we went traveling. We went a lot of traveling. That was a vibe, you know.
Jeez.
Yeah, big, you know. And Rebel, like, you know, he recognizes the hip hop. Like, he sees himself as hip hop. Like, making the jungle is like it's just invention, isn't it? You know. You know, and he's also rooted to the reggae, you know, which is something else that I play a lot of, you know. Like, since lockdown, like, I never used to make mixtapes. I've made loads of mixtapes since lockdown. I made a whole series called Wake Up the Lions, which is all reggae, you know, but the type of reggae I designed the mixes to help me feel like I wasn't alone in this world and seeing the world how I see the world. You know what I mean?
Rebel music.
Because of the lyrics, we're chatting, we're seeing the world in the way that I see the world. You know, when you listen to someone like Midnight, you know what they're talking about. You listen to Buju, you know what they're talking about.
It's mad, isn't it? Because you think like, wow, man grew up on all this music, like all this, whether it be hip hop, you know, reggae, it could be punk, but it was like, you know, rock. It was talking about all this shit. And then, you know what I mean? Man are singing the lyrics, this, that, and the third, and then the time comes and they're like, No, man. You're like, what? So what were you listening to then?
That's what I meant about hip hop disappointing me in 2020.
Bam, there we go, man. So yeah, break that down, man. In what way? In 2020, yeah, personally, if I felt like it's a little bit before that for me, but yeah, 2020, I know what you mean. But yeah, break it down, man, because you're
Well, I mean,
not
hip hop had
lying.
gone wayward from a long time.
You're
You
not
know what I
lying.
mean? But I was still a big defender because I don't look at the mainstream as the main representation of it. You know, like I say, I'm in dance arenas and traveling in various parts of the world. You know, like I'm in Uganda and Kenya, like for a bit of a year each year.
Yeah.
The East African Breakdance Championships, and the vibe and energy out there is just really reinvigorating and inspiring, you know, just to see how the vibes, man. It's different. So like I know hip hop is really alive and well. So when I look at what's being presented as hip hop in the mainstream, I don't really even consider it, like, apart from a few particular artists that I rate, you know. But a lot of time it was like, no. But what was more distressing was like people who I thought were more politically astute, really just going along with the whole narrative as if like as if the pharmaceutical companies and the military and the finance system and the governments, they're not all in the same crooked system together, you know. Because like, how are you disassociating the likes of Pfizer and so on from NATO, whoever it is you want to chat about, you know? Yeah, I was a bit like, oh no, like hip hop is just, it's hard to explain what I'm saying.
I think it
felt like I thought more people would be on my page with it, and as well I felt like I was being attacked for voicing myself. I feel safer to speak now because the stuff I was saying earlier on, it was so sensitive to say anything that I just decided let me just turn everything off and study. You know, it was the best thing for my mental health. It was the best thing for my physical health and for my anxiety. And it actually turned out to be a really good year for me because I ended up getting myself qualified and on the right path now for getting further education. Because, as I said before, I left school when I was 14, so now I'm back into education.
That's heavy,
and I'm learning. I'm teaching myself something that I feel is going to be applicable to the benefit of my quality of life moving forward. And that's like the simple things like permaculture, foraging, architecture, you know, but especially just knowing how to eat and how to live and survive, and also how to maintain a good mood.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's a very hard part, man. With all of this going on, definitely getting to them moments where you can, I guess you call it that sunken place, man. You know, where you just feel like, right, is this whole world just turning into a whole pile of shit and no one's going to notice, no one's going to do nothing? Or you kind of realize, you know, even though things are the way they are, there are positives in it in the sense that you can, like you said, you dig deeper and try and find something that you're into that you'll find of true benefit. You know, not what they've made up, something that you find of true benefit, and learn that. You know what I mean? As much as you can in the most enjoyable way that you can as well. And it obviously doesn't feel like much of a chore because it's something you're enjoying, and then you're getting a lot out of it in the end, as opposed to, you know.
Bro, man. I'm so geeked out on the biochemistry and shit. Like I think I told you before I started writing a book.
yeah. On pleomorphism. That was it, isn't it?
Pleomorphism is a part of it. It's because I was finding it difficult to express myself, even in situations like this. I don't think I'm as articulated as I like to be when I'm writing, you know. But even on social media and so on, like expressing something and getting a lot of attack, and then it becomes a friggin' back to back, like, oh, Facebook PhD or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just insulting me, not really.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered, you know. So I thought, well, that's why I wanted to get myself the qualifications, so no one can say like, you know, what's your credentials? And at least now I'm certified nutritionist, and I'm an elite calisthenics specialist, would you believe? which is basically I learned the physiology and the muscle groups and what exercises works what, and this, that, and the other. And the reason I even got into the calisthenics is because of the naturopathic medicine course that I was doing. The teacher on that course made us do the calisthenics course because we needed to learn some basic physiology to move forward in what we were dealing with in the diet. Because we were also learning at the time that you can't sit on your arse all day like some lazy so-and-so and expect herbs to fucking do everything for you. Like for example, like the bones are what we call piezoelectric. And that means they create charge through friction, and that the friction happens through motion. So whenever you're exercising and creating motion, there's a charge that is generating growth, and that's really necessary,
So is that what strengthens the bones? Because they talk about like doing heavy weights strengthens the bones, but you're saying it's just movement. It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Both.
It's both.
I mean, pushing yourself. The best thing to do, I'll tell you, I don't know how much time we have here, but I'll let you in on a little secret. In Hindu, there's a mystical plant called soma.
Oh yeah, suma. Yeah, I've heard of suma. It's like an adaptogen, right?
It's like a plant that is meant to be like an elixir of life, and it's unknown, undiscovered, or it's hidden. But it's really only hidden in allegory to what they would call the profane, but really it's biology, and the plant that they're referring to is inside the body. When you press a plant and you get an oil to excrete from it, like an essential oil or so, it's because you've applied pressure with a cold press. Imagine now you're doing a plank and you're holding yourself to the point where you're trembling. You ever do that?
Yeah.
It's a really, 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 really good exercise. I recommend everybody does it at least once a day for a minute. Because when you start to tremble, you're pushing a reverse inertia on your organs. So you're burning off visceral fat. So it's going to help to protect against cardiovascular disease, fatty heart, fatty liver. Going to protect against that because you're burning that off. It's also going to help to clear the blood of excess sugars. But what's even more special about it is that when you get to the trembling point, you're breaking what's called the lactic acid threshold. And when you do that, you're essentially squeezing the brain stem because of all this pressure you're putting on your body. And as you do that, there's a growth hormone that is excreted from the pituitary gland called somatotropin. Somatotropin is what we talk about as the elixir of life, because it's a hormone that is involved with growth and repair. So if you can do like what we call like an isometric hold, like a plank or any other type of hold, where you're just keeping yourself in one position that the body is, feeling on the inside, you're going to start to produce these growth hormones, which when you go into your rejuvenative sleep state, the body will start to repair the damage that you've been doing during the day and build back better, which is the great friggin' World Economic Forum phrase right now for our future enslavement. But I put my own twist on it.
Yeah, that's the best way, man. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do, really.
But the bones in general look like, just a quick conversation about the bones is like there's a battle between the white adipose tissue and the brown adipose tissue. The brown is the muscle and the white is the fat. So when the bone starts to rot, you're getting fatty bones, and you're basically more. They're not bioactive bones. You're not going to get any like real quality stem cell biogenesis or differentiation from unhealthy fatty bones. So you need to nourish your bones. You need to be in the daylight for the right circadian rhythm, for the right light metabolism. Because that's another conversation that nobody is even really having about light metabolism.
So
You know,
is that a real thing, like
like
metabolism? Like this whole thing about like if you stay in the sun at a certain time of the day, you produce, you know, vitamin D, but then you can also produce like vitamin, is it E, and you know, like you're producing other minerals and vitamins. Is that true?
well, the K kind of comes with the D, but you know what it is like there's different color frequencies through the spectrum of the day. So in the morning, you have like infrared light, and if you get that in the morning, you are going to irradiate your blood. So it's going to make your blood flow better in general. It's also going to help your mitochondria. It will help their strength. They produce what's called easy water. There's a really good book here I'd recommend checking out. This is called The Fourth Phase of Water. You know, because there's the gas, the air, you know, the solid would be the ice. You know, but we're talking about plasma.
Yeah.
You know, because the water that we drink isn't the same water that we be. You know, we become like a kind of a solid water. It's a gelatinous structure, the crystal lattice structure that we are, which includes the skeletal tissue, which you always need to continue to strengthen. But light metabolism is very much a real thing because we have a microbiome and all of our bacteria is regulated by the light. Our hormones are regulated by light.
Right.
You know, it's one of the reasons why the Wi-Fi is a problem, because the Wi-Fi is almost like having the sunshine on 24/7. You know, that's not natural for the body.
Because of the frequency that it's radiating. That's because of the frequency it's radiating.
Yeah.
So you just made me think of something I wanted to ask about to do with the light. Okay, so it's more to do with hormones as opposed to vitamins or minerals. Is that right? And obviously we call vitamin D, but it's actually a hormone as opposed to a vitamin.
Well, it's just what say, you know, it's it's just different terminologies, but a lot of times it's the same thing.
Okay, so it's not a case of you look at the sun and then you produce like magnesium or iron or vitamin C.
No.
Okay.
You need to get your magnesium in your diet. Again, the sea moss is really good for magnesium. Dark leafy greens are good for magnesium. Epsom salt foot spas and baths, good for magnesium. And everybody should really consider how to get the magnesium into their body right now because there's a deficiency in the magnesium in the people, and it's really necessary to have your defenses up with that shit right now. Maybe I'll plug my laptop in.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Where can people get sea moss from, or the people were asking about the algae? If there are any places you can recommend getting some of that good stuff.
In the UK, I can't really recommend anybody who's making a gel that I trust apart from my own, and I haven't got my products out yet. In America, I would go by KT the Arch Degree, Blue Pill, Mama Pill, Dr. Inky. But you could swerve all of that and just eat more algae in general. You know, you don't need to go and find yourself, because everyone's trying to sell you this pale moss that they haven't even prepared properly. It's actually dangerous for you, a lot of it that they're selling. I would just say like try to eat more seaweed salads. You know, get dulse, get kelp, get nori, just get chlorella, especially chlorella. Just introduce that to your diet. You know, learn about it as well, so that you don't. It's unlikely that you're going to overdo it. You know, and if the more you get into it, you'll realize as well that if you're going to go be foraging, there's all the coastline algae are edible and they're all good for you.
Oh, wow.
The ones that are more washed up, it might be more acidic. So as the tide goes out and you go a bit further out, you could live off that shit. And it was known as a famine food in Ireland during the starvation of our people. A lot of us survived by eating the algae.
Wow.
You know? It's like there's protein, there's fats, there's minerals, there's a lot of everything what you need in there, you know.
Is that why they call it Irish moss?
It's called Irish moss because when the Irish went to Barbados and Jamaica and the Isles there, we kind of brought that drink with us, which was like making the moss into a gel and mixing it with milk and cinnamon and so on. And then you know, our way would have been like probably throw a bit of whiskey into it, you know what I mean? But out in Jamaica it was like rum, you know. So it became like a popular drink. They call it the Irish moss because it was known from the Irish thing, and it was like it was popular amongst us, and then it was popular amongst the Rasta, you know. And then Sebi repopularized it again now in recent times, and everyone knows about moss because of Sebi.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing is a lot of people are not copying what Sebi did or have any real true understanding of what Sebi was doing. You know, because Sebi was making a real gel, a colloidal tissue, a solution. You know. You know, a lot of people are telling people now that you soak it overnight with a bit of lime and then you blend it and you're done. That's not how you make a gel. That's just glue.
What's that? You soak it in lime, you put it in some water.
Overnight, and then you blend it, and then you've got a gel. That's how it's been promoted.
Yeah.
Right.
How are you supposed to do it?
They're not even giving you good gel. They're giving you this sun bleach crap. But they're not even telling you what species. A lot of people they won't tell you what species it is, where it's from. It's pale. They're giving you all the sales pitch stuff that they've heard from someone else, and then they're out there telling you this gel is it's going to, you know, solve all of your health problems, and it's not. It's going to cause you more problems. A lot of that stuff is going to clog up your colon and even potentially lead to fucking cancer.
Wow.
The proper way to make a gel is through slow, low heat for several hours, up to like 4, maybe even 7 hours of a very, very, very low heat.
Oh wow.
You know? What Sebi would do, he would use the Chondas crispus and he would mix it with the bladderwrack, and then he would use the gel as a carrier for all of the herbs that he would also add. You know, sometimes he would make the herbs into tinctures and drop the tinctures into the solution, and as the colloidal solution is forming, you know, all of the molecules of everything that has been included all start to disperse at equal ratio throughout the solution, you know, because of the relationship between the electromagnetism, the repulsion and attraction that takes place between all of the ions.
Yeah.
You know, so everything's getting equally dispersed, you know. Like I'm working on a gel right now that I'm formulating to the point where I can have in 2 tablespoons, I know exactly the ratio of calcium to phosphorus, for example, you know, because I wanted to have at least 1.5 grams of calcium and 2 grams of phosphorus.
Yeah.
That's the ratio I want, because I've come to an understanding of how calcium is regulating the movement of electrons, and phosphorus is regulating the movement of protons. And together, that you're creating the basis of chemiluminescence, which is the basis of consciousness, because you're talking about your electromagnetic field, your own innate radiant radiation, where you can store and hold information. No, I got to put my laptop in.
Snuff's going deep right now, man. You're locked into some shit you might not never know nothing about. We got our brother DJ Snuff breaking down some gems for us, man. This is what I'm talking about.
Very interesting.
See
very
how we don't get to communicate and we don't find out these things from each other. Yeah. This is where we can do it, man. Telling you, boy.
I actually had to put together a study group, and I'd welcome anybody to join me. You know, because these are quite esoteric subject matters. Because I'm studying human nutrition right now and naturopathic medicine, and a lot of that I'm doing at a foundation level towards my bachelor's. So I'm just doing basic biology, anatomy, physiology, physics, and so on. But I'm much more interested in the more esoteric side of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm also in a kind of a group. We're just straight up geeks, you know. But we're studying a lot of the Commission science, Dogon science, folkloric medicine,
mystery schooling,
entheogens, you know, ethnobotany, you know.
Wow.
And the applications of all these herbs throughout the history, and also trying to get little foraging trips going as well, you know, like getting out there looking for mushrooms and herbs.
So where can people get hold of you? What's the sort of easiest way, or your most not? What way do you prefer people to get hold of you?
Easiest place to find me is probably Instagram, DJ Snuff 1, all spelled with the O-N-E, DJ S-N-U-F-F-O-N-E. If anyone hits me up with interest in wanting to learn these types of stuff, I reckon I would probably make a group.
Yeah, you should set up a Telegram group or something like that, man.
Yeah, I'm not even on Telegram yet, but I would do that. I know.
I know.
Because what I would,
Number one.
It's DJ Snuff 1, we spell it O-N-E. Yeah, you got it. Because like, let me see, I can show you the books, Science and esoteric.
Esoteric wisdom. Jeez. So someone was asking, Kenny Rebel was like, do you make like a shake drink with it? With the CMOS. Yeah. The gel that I'm making, I was just mentioning right now about the balance of the calcium and the phosphorus, but also with the gelatinous nature of it and so on. I also fuse it with cannabis oil, cold pressed cannabis oil. I've got one that's CBD. I've got the one that I make like for the Manzan is cannabis oil, and I also mix it with manuka honey. And I've also really amped up the shikimic acid in it as well. I don't know if you've been listening to any of the doctors that are talking about how to counteract the effects of the spike protein, but shikimic acid is another thing that's very protective about all that. Jeez.
But anyway, like when you make it, the way I make it, because I've got like a bit of manuka honey in it, and I've also got some star anise and licorice root and so on. It's got kind of a nice taste to it. You can take like a big spoonful and you can add that to a smoothie, and whatever you add to the smoothie is going to mask the taste of it. So yeah, you can definitely add it to a smoothie. For the best benefits, I would say a green smoothie is going to be better than something that's just loaded up on sugar, because you don't really want to be drinking a big thing of sugar anyway. That's another mistake a lot of people who make smoothies are doing. Some people are smoothing themselves into diabetes and don't even realize it. Like even all these like carrot juices and shit, that's all sugar. You may as well be drinking freaking Coca-Cola or some of that shit.
It's fructose though, isn't it? So it's not really the same. It's fructose.
I know, but when you juice it down, you're drinking such a quantity of it.
But I think your body processes the two differently though, doesn't it? Rather glucose and fructose.
No, I mean it's definitely going to be better than the refined sugar.
Yeah.
But still a lot of sugar. And it's being stripped apart from its fiber often. Because sugar needs to be attached to the fiber.
Yeah, you should really be chewing food rather than drinking food. Do you know what I mean? Really, if you're going to have smoothies, you should just eat the fruit. It's just, especially the chewing action. The chewing action also is important.
I say juice your salads and eat your fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, right, okay.
Juice
your salads. I've come a long way, so I've got quite a palate that's susceptible to bitter taste. I enjoy bitter flavors now. A lot of people wouldn't stomach nothing bitter. Everyone needs the hyper sweet or the hyper salt.
The further you move away from the sugar, yeah, you're right. You get appreciation of other flavors as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of good bitter flavors out there. I actually start to really enjoy like different bitter tasting things. Like if you chew on some cola bitter or something like that. But with the moss, again, you can add it. Another thing I would do is make a tea. You can make a tea, put like a couple of spoons into some water, heat it down, it will become liquid, and you could add it. You can melt maybe like 2 medjool dates into that. That's going to be sweet. Add a spoonful of ginger powder and a load of cinnamon powder. That's a lovely drink. Like a syrupy drink. It's very nice. You can add like a tiny little bit maybe to your oatmeal, to your porridge. I recommend people eat organic oats, because organic oats are really good source of free floating testosterone for your blood plasma, and that will also help to combat the cortisol levels, which cause anxiety and stress. So if anyone's dealing with anxiety and stress, which I know everybody is, oats will help. It's not going to solve the problem, but it's going to be an aid.
Yeah.
You can also put it in baking. Your bacon, if you're making like some buns or cake or whatever, you can add the gel. It'll work as a raising agent. You can add it to soup. It'll act as a thickener. see the thing about the CMOS, a lot of people don't know as well, is that the smoothie and the gel stuff and all that, like that we're seeing being hustled on the street, that's really small fry compared to what the industry is about, because the industry is a multi-billion, near $1 trillion business.
What?
So a lot of
the CMOS business? Oh, you mean the pharmacy? The CMOS business is a multi-trillion-dollar business. Wow.
Multi-billion-dollar business, and it's reaching the $1 trillion business realm. Yeah, there are about a couple of books.
Jesus, man, I didn't know that, boy. Damn.
This is what I'm talking about. Not for making smoothies though. In the pharmaceutical industry, they use the algae in their culture dishes, in the putrid dishes.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They use the algae in that. They use it in pharmaceuticals as a carrier, but mainly it's also in the food additive industry as a thickening agent. You know, and it's also in other. So you'll find it in ice cream. You'll find it in mayonnaise. You'll find it in toothpaste. You'll find it in a lot of stuff that's
crazy.
They're using it as a gelling agent. You know, but this is the jokes thing about that as well, is that they're not just using what I would recommend people to have as a moss or to eat, because I'm talking about the freshly picked, harvested, healthy, pigmented algae. Whereas the stuff that's being sold, it gets the name industrial moss. And it's industrial moss, and the reason that it's been bleached so much is because they don't want all of that benefits. They just want to break it down to its basic carrageenan, so that they can use it as a thickening agent.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of people are getting the waste product and the byproduct of this thickening product industry, and selling it on road as the miracle cure thing that they're associating to SEBI, and SEBI would be pissed.
Yeah. So would it be, someone asked about spirulina lastly.
I'm not spirulina because I think it goes moldy too quickly.
Don't smooth it. Okay. Spirulina.
I recommend chlorella.
Chlorella.
The spirulina is being heavily farmed now, and it's not really the same spirulina that it was famous for.
Okay. All right. Yo, Snuff, man. You've dropped some gems on us tonight, bruv. Really appreciate you taking the time out, King.
I ain't even pulled any of my books out, man.
Nah, innit? Like, we got to do this again. Yeah. We got to do this again, man.
You want to check this one out?
Yeah, for real. Pause the video if you know what I mean? You're watching back, just pause the video if you don't get to read the book in time. But he's got some...
Epigenetics, mind over matter. This shit can control your this can control your everything, man. Just
what else you got there, bro? Cole? We know about this.
This one telling you like what the dangers are of EMS. Breaks it down. Breaks it down for real.
You up for doing this again, bruv? We'll catch up some more.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro.
Definitely, man. I'll give you the heads up for sure, man. Appreciate you, mother lover. Yo.
So just give us any links or anything where people can get hold of you again, if you can.
And some fire emojis in the comments, man, if you like appreciated and learned something today. If you learned something today, man, something that you feel like you might want to look into. I see some, definitely some eyebrows lifting up. Shout to Gleam. Yeah. Yeah.
No, there's a lot.
How can people catch?
Yeah, man. It's a short amount of time, and I wasn't really on the same topic. I started trying to talk about hip hop and health. You know?
Yeah, what
was the big on healthy? You know, you got to bring it back to that.
Definitely, bruv. It is all about that, man. Really appreciate them words, bruv. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, just to catch up and see how everyone's been dealing with this is very interesting, and also it helped. Like you were saying before, there was a time when you felt like, right, you're on your own, you know, no one else, but you start to realize like you're not actually. There are a bunch of other people that see things the same way, and it's just that because of this distancing thing, we ain't had a chance to really chat. So.
And it was a warning. It was a warning to everyone to sort of put up more sort of resilient communities because we was going to be forced into lockdowns, and that's what we're trying to do, is create somewhere else that's another space that if the only place you've got is here, then you know there's somewhere else to actually get ideas out.
That's what I want to build on. That's why I'm trying to build my little group of around the foraging and permaculture and things like that. You know?
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a good thing. Yeah.
You know, a couple of tips for the winter, yeah, before you go.
Yeah.
I reckon everybody should get themselves an infrared light.
Infrared light.
Everybody should get themselves a UVB, UVC light bulb to help metabolize calcium and get the vitamin D during these cold months.
That would be better than taking vitamin D, like natural vitamin D with it.
Well, it's hard to get it in a food source. You know, the algae are a good source of like a type of D2, D3. Mushrooms are a good source. Nettles are a good source. But the best source is always going to be sun. But right now in the winter, we're not really going to get it. We're going to be deficient. And when you don't get the vitamin D, the body's not going to be as healthy as it would. You're going to be more prone to infections.
So get a UV light.
Yeah, UV light's going to help have more of that in your body. If you are going to get a supplement, a vitamin D supplement, get the one. I think it's made from lichen.
Yeah. Lichen, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Synthesized stuff does more harm than it does. You know, when anything that you see with fortified with this and that and the other, avoid it. You don't want that.
Yeah, definitely. What was it? So Kenny Rebel saying you absorb it better. So I guess because you absorb the UV light and then you produce the vitamin D. So it's us actually making it. But I guess it's better if we're producing it as opposed to us supplementing with it.
Well, we produce it through cholesterol that's running through the blood.
Yeah.
And when the UV hits the blood, it turns it into what gets called vitamin D, which is a kind of a multitude of things, really.
Man said she loves
this vitamin D.
Kenny Rebel said she loves the D. Yo, so what else is it? Vitamin D, and then there was something else. You said that.
I was saying the infrared light as well.
The infrared light, and what else? Well, that was the main tip for this winter.
You know what I would say? Like, eat more mushrooms. See everybody who's getting the frigging jab. You definitely need to be worried about coagulation of your blood. You know, and a couple of things that are going to help you with that is going to be the infrared light, the morning light, dietary. You want red onion, raw red onion. The sulfur compounds in that are going to help to prevent the coagulation of the blood. Cayenne pepper is going to help against the coagulation of the blood. Drinking a lot of good quality spring water in general is going to help, you know, with the blood. Fruits and not overeating. Try not to eat at night. If you do eat anything heavy, you've got to bear in mind that you need to work that off somehow before you go to sleep. You know, because a lot of the problems with people isn't like what they're eating, it's how they're eating. In fact, I think that the first lesson that people need to learn about diet is like how to eat, not what to eat. So a lot of people are just eating and sitting down, eating and lying down. That's not the way to eat. You're meant to, you've got to do something with that, you know. You want to metabolize it, you know, otherwise it's just going to be shit out. And a lot of times it doesn't get shit out, you just shovel more stuff in and it's all clogging you up. You know?
Yeah.
Understand how the food works. Like, you know, you don't just shoveling shit on top of shit. And then not having the shit. Because honestly, you could have a fast.
Yeah.
Like for a week. You just do nothing but water and you're still gonna have a big shit every day. You know, day 5, not eating any food, you got to think, where's that shit coming from? And where would it be if I was eating a big meal every day? You know what I mean? You got to make sure that that stuff's not piling up inside you.
Deep,
you know?
bro. Deep, man. Yo, we'll leave on that shit right there. On that note right there. That was some shit you might not never know nothing about. Yo, big up to the comment section, man. Shout out to my comment sensors. DJ, Pork Scratchings, Mr. Green, Yema, PS, Kenny Rebel, Blue Fliggy, Black Einstein, Mr. Green, Don Smithered, Gleam. Yeah, man, all my people that was locked in, man. We appreciate you, mother lovers. Snuff, thanks for coming through, man.
Thank you very much.
You know what I
much
mean?
appreciated.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me on, man. It's good to catch up. I can't wait to see you all in person at the chip shop.
Yeah, man, innit? That's it, man. Chip shop, 9th of December.
And if anyone's around Peckham tomorrow, by the way, I'm playing at Peckham Levels upstairs.
Oh,
it's a brand
see.
new venue. It's just opened up. It's called I forget the name of it, but it's on the top floor of the Peckham Levels.
Jeez,
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be on an hour piano place. South African house.
Oh, nice. South African house. Watch him now. Yo, shout out to Bluefoot. Jeez, boy.
Oh, big up Bluefoot, man.
Yeah, man. Wow.
That's some speakers corner days shit right there, man.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Taking it back.
You were a big show. I think you were part of it.
It's the blues been everywhere, man.
We're going to the end of the week, by the way. So big up end of the week, worldwide movement.
Yeah. End of the bruv, levels, man. End of the week, like, jeez. Zulu Nation. Snuff
Well,
has
I've
done
distanced
this.
myself from that shit, bro. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I was there for a minute.
But yeah, we definitely got to do this again, bruv, man. Appreciate you coming through, King. Yes, man.
Yeah, man. Enough luck.
Yo, shout out to all the crew that was locked in, man. Yo, that was DJ Snuff right there. Jeez. He went in. He went fully in, mother lovers. Fully in. You got that right there. Thanks for locking in, man. We appreciate everyone. As always, man. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe. Hit the bell as well so that you can be notified about when we're going live. My name is Mice Diggy. That's my host, co-host, Dan DNA. Yo, this has been some shit you might not never know nothing about. And we're out.